Good morning, fifth grade. This is lesson 3-9, and this is page 89 in your activity book. I'd like you to have that out and working through these first problems with me as we go through, and then you'll go ahead and try some problems on your own before we meet later for Zoom. This lesson is a little bit different because it's more of a thinking lesson. It doesn't require you to do a lot of math to start with. It's more thinking about what you know about numbers and what you know about fractions, and then making some predictions. The quiz tomorrow does not have a lot of these problems on it, but it's important that we understand what we're doing when we're multiplying with fractions and with whole numbers. So there's a couple different problems that you're going to see on this section. So number one shows us a fraction times a fraction, which we know is taking a piece of a piece. So write that down. A piece of a piece, or a part of a part. When we do that, our answer is going to get smaller. So what we end up with is always smaller than what we started with, because we're taking a fraction times a fraction, a piece times a piece. So x is always going to be smaller than those pieces. On number two, we see 6 over 6. Now, anytime we see a numerator and denominator that are the exact same number, we know that this is a fraction equal to 1. Back when we were making equivalent fractions, we know that anytime you multiply anything by 1, it stays the same. So anytime we multiply any fraction or any whole number by 1, it stays the same. That's because of the identity property of multiplication. Anytime a fraction is multiplied by 1, it's still going to be that fraction. So in this, we're going to put equals. So even if we change the digits, because we're making an equivalent fraction, so 6 times 3 is 18, and 6 times 4 is 24, 18/24 is still the same as 3/4. It's just written in a different way. Remember, we're just cutting more pieces. The next kind you're going to see is a fraction that looks like a mixed number times a fraction. So in this problem, we're taking 3/4 of 1 and we're taking 3/4 of 3/7. So we're taking a part of both of those numbers. Well, we know that anytime we multiply by 1, it's going to stay the same. So we're already keeping this 3/4 and then just adding to it an extra piece. So whenever we multiply by a mixed number, the product is going to be bigger than what we had in the original problem. So 3/4 is going to be smaller than what we end up with, which is the x. So remember, the x is the variable. It means the answer in all of these problems. And your job is to think about, if I multiply these together, am I going to get an answer that's bigger or smaller than one of the factors? Remember that factors are the two numbers that we multiply together to get an answer. And an answer of a multiplication problem is a product.